welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a brand new video. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Amelia and I'm going to take a sip of water. And I upload book content such as reading vlogs and chatty book videos and wrap-ups. And if you do enjoy that content, then give it a thumbs up. Please comment down below, please subscribe. Please follow my social medias down below. And before we get into this video, I do want to say I am considering doing my own book club on Fable. So if that is something you think you'd be interested in, then please let me know in the comments below so I know if I'm going to have interest or not. Yeah. Without further ado, let's just get on with it because it's going to be a long one. So for this video, I actually saw Amelia, I think that's how you say it, her name, do this video, and I loved the idea of it. And I'm kind of calling this books that you just need to read, or books that might help you get out of a reading slump, and if you haven't read them before. Although most of the books I've actually got here are quite popular, so it will be very surprising if you haven't. But if you're new to reading or you haven't read them before, then pick these books up because they are amazing, and there is quite a few. So we're going to try and keep this brief, but not too brief. Some of them are series, some of them are standalones. There's a mixture of fantasy and romance here and dark romance, but let's just get on with them because some of them are books I read last year and some of the ones I read, most of the ones I read this year, but some of them I read last year. So we're just going to get on with them. I'm just going to pick whichever I see at first. We're going to start, because they're in my way, with the Twisted series. I have read the first 3 books of the Twisted series. There's 4. I'm going to read the 4th one very, very soon. For a video, by the way, so keep an eye out for that. But I read Twisted Love back in 2022 and it was enjoyable. It was really good. This one follows Alex and Ava. Alex is Ava's brother's best friend, so it's brother's best friend trope. It's you touch her, you die trope. Yeah. And it's really good. There is a lot of, if you're not aware of the Twisted series by Anna Huang, then there is dark stuff that happens. Like, there's a lot, when it says twisted, it means twisted. There's things that you wouldn't expect to have in a romance because, you know, a happy romance, there's the romance in it, but there's also like a subplot to it, which is like dark things. Like Alex is kind of the mafia, I guess. I can't really remember too much, but yeah. And then you have Twisted Games, which is Bridget and Reese. This is a bodyguard and princess trope, and I want to say enemies to lovers, but I'm not entirely sure. Is it enemies to lovers? I don't think it's enemies to lovers. I feel like it's Grumpy vs Sunshine. I don't remember too much, but it is a really good book. I say I don't remember too much. I just don't remember the tropes. I do remember the story. I love the story. It was 4.75 star for me. Love Bridget and Reese. I literally just could not stop thinking about them. I read this at the beginning of the year, to be fair. And then we have Twisted Hate, which is following Josh and Jules. Josh is Ava's brother, and Jules. Also, by the way, the girls are all best friends, so they tie in. And this is an enemies to lovers relationship, like full on enemies to lovers. And I absolutely love the story. I love everything about it. But this whole series is so good, and like I don't think the 4th one is going to let me down. So if you haven't read these books, you need to invest in them. If you live in the UK, they have them in the works, so go get them. If not, Amazon, anywhere you can get them because they're really good. I think they're also on Kindle, but I don't know if they're on Kindle Unlimited or not. Who knows. Next we might as well do Emily Henry together. Happy Place, I can't remember what it's called, it's right in front of me. Happy Place by Emily Henry. This was a really good book. I found this really enjoyable. I think if you're going into this book hoping for the romance, probably not what you're going in for. But the story I just felt was relatable. I loved it. Everything about it. This follows Win and I don't remember her name, which is really bad. Harriet and Win. And this was just a really good book. They went on, it's this couple that are split up, they were engaged, they split up, then they got invited on a holiday with like their old college friends, and they didn't know and they were all like a massive group of friends, like best friends, but they didn't know they split up, so they had to fake date basically. Fake being in that relationship, and it was tense, it was everything. And the story wasn't just about their relationship, it was about their friendships, and I loved it. So good. Definitely recommend. One of Emily Henry's best books, I can say. Not my favourite of her reads, but that one is coming up. This is my second favourite. Such a good book. Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is my favourite book of hers. I absolutely love this book. It's a cute story between two authors who are in a bit of a writing slump. So they decide to set a challenge for themselves that they have to write the opposite genre. So you have January, who is a romance writer, and she has to write for the serious literary, which is what Gus's kind of like genre is, and Gus has to write a romance novel, and it's just so good. The whole story is so good. It made me cry. I adored this book so much. Yes, the best book she has written. I just cannot stress this enough how much I love this book. Like, I did not like book lovers. This one I loved, absolutely loved. Next we have a book that I'm obsessed with, and I'm absolutely obsessed with, and I think you all need to pick up. If you think fantasy's not for you, I honestly think you should maybe think again, or maybe not think again, but pick this book up anyway, and it's Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Her writing in this book is phenomenal. Like, I am obsessed. Imagine Divergent with dragons, and maybe a bit of like the Hunger Games, and a bit of like Harry Potter, and just all of that in one book. Just imagine all that in one book, because this book is phenomenal. This book follows a girl called Violet Sorrengail. They have quadrants, like the healer quadrant, the scribe quadrant, and the rider quadrant. And Violet wants to go into the scribe quadrant, I think that's what it's called. Oh my god, brains. What's brain? Yeah, scribe. Oh, that's right. Oh my god, I'm my brain. It's good. Scribe quadrant, and but her mum and her sister are both riders, so now that her dad's no longer alive, she has to go and follow in the footsteps of her family. So she goes to the riders quadrant, and she meets a guy called Xaden, who literally wants to kill her from day dot, alongside a guy called Jack Barlow, won't we add, who we don't like. And this book is so good. Honestly, you need to read it. You'll be hooked from the first page. It was so good. I really enjoyed this book. I cannot stop thinking about it. All I think about is I want to be in this world. Why is it not real? Next we have the Chestnut Spring series. Now, I've only read the first two books, which is Flawless and Heartless. But this series is literally, I'm obsessed with. Like, I cannot stop thinking about Heartless. Like, literally, again, it's another one of those books that I cannot stop thinking about. Like, all I can think about is Willa and Cade, and I'm obsessed. So, you've got Flawless that follows Rhett and Summer. Rhett is like a cowboy competition guy, bull riding competition guy, and he's a bit of a bad boy and he needs taming, so Summer goes in as a babysitter and starts their romance off. And Cade is a single dad who also owns the farm and has a lot to do, so he needs someone to look after, like be a nanny to his son. And so Summer in the first book asks her best friend Willa to come down. Willa becomes the nanny after having no experience looking after children. And yeah, you can imagine what happens next. But it's so good, and you definitely need to read it. I cannot wait to read Powerless and Reckless, and then when Hopeless comes out, I can't wait for that. So yeah. Okay, we're moving on to like a standalone. Again, this is A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. I absolutely adored this book. I cried. Like, throughout most of the book, I was crying. I cannot tell you how much I cried in this book because I cried so much. It was time when I was reading and the pages were getting blurry because the tears were coming out of my eyes. It is so sad, but also I feel like it's so motivational to realise how short life is and how much you just need to go for it. So this book follows Rune and Poppy. They are like high school kids, and they meet from childhood, and it's like a childhood friends to lovers kind of thing. And in the beginning of the book, it's Poppy's grandma passes away and gives her this jar of like hearts that she has to write down 1,000 kisses that she has in there, like her most amazing kisses that she has to write down in there, and she has to collect over her lifetime. And it's just so beautiful, and I love the story so much, and I cannot tell you enough, but you need to read it. Next we have Normal People by Sally Rooney. I know this is very much mixed reviews, and her writing style I get can be confusing because there's no quotation marks in the way she writes. It's a bit... And I don't like conversations with friends, which is a discussion I've had several times. However, I love this book, and I did watch the series first before reading the book, so maybe I was a bit biased because I love the show. Like, the TV series is like one of my favourite TV series ever. Like, I absolutely adore it. Like, Marianne and Connell are adorable. So that's why I picked the book up when I was getting back into reading. I was like, I need to read this book. I need to, like, this is one of the books that I need to know and I need to read. So I read this and I adored it so much, and I think you should all read it. It is really good, really enjoyable. I love it. Someone's car's making a really weird sound, so I'm sorry if you can hear that. Next we have one of the books that if you have been here for a long time, you'll know I have not stopped raving about, and it is Archer's Voice by me. Yeah, dodgy sound. It's Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. This book is literally one of my favourite books ever. This book follows Bree and Archer. I don't know how to question that one. And it's just such a beautiful story. It's a small town romance. I'd say Grumpy versus Sunshine, especially at the beginning of the book. It's so... But I wouldn't even say Sunshine because she's not even that much of a sunshine, but she's a bit more positive than he is. But it's just so good. I absolutely adore this book so much, and I cannot stop thinking about it. Like, I still think about it to this day. I think I read this, like, I want to say I finished it this time last year, and I still cannot stop thinking about it, to the point where I pre-ordered the special edition that she's got that Mia Sheridan has coming out in October. I need to check that. I'll check that after the call. After the video. This book is 100% my favourite book I've ever read, and I love it so much. Then we have Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. They have written a fantastic book. This was my first Friends to Lovers book I ever read, and I was very sceptical about going into it because Friends to Lovers, but it was also Second Chance Romance, and again I was very cautious because I'd never done that. I haven't read that before either, but honestly, this was so good. So good. This follows Macy and Elliot, and Macy would go to this house for summer with her dad, like, every year, and they would meet. She was in her, like, little, like, library room, I guess, book room, and he comes in and just sits there with her and they're reading, and they create a friendship. It's really cute, and then next thing I know, they start dating, and then obviously something must happen for them to break up, to them be in the future, and you have to find out why they broke up, and it's just so cute. And I honestly love this book so much, to the point where I had to up my rating this year, because last year I rated like 3.75, and I don't know why I actually have upped this to 5 stars, because this was just so good. Okay. There we are. Ow. Oh my god. Oh my god, this was sick. We've now got one of my favourite series in the whole world, and that is the Dreamland Billionaire series by Lauren Asher. This is the best. I honestly cannot tell you how amazing these books are. You've got the fine print, which is Rowan and Zara. To explain the story very briefly, all three brothers, you have Rowan, Declan, and Cal or Callahan, who, their grandfather dies and leaves behind his will that they can get the inheritance if they follow out on different things. They all got different tasks to complete to get the inheritance and stop their dad getting their part of the inheritance. And they don't like their dad, so hence why they're doing this. So Rowan has to basically become CEO of Dreamland, which is like the theme park. It's like Disneyland. And Zara is a designer, but she works in a different place, but she can design, and she wants to become a designer for Dreamland. And Rowan sees her and goes, "Yes, you should do it." And then, like, a workplace romance. It's really cute. I really enjoyed this book. Adorable. And then you have Terms and Conditions, and Declan has to marry and have a kid to get his inheritance. So you see at the beginning of the book, they're trying to find his the person to be his wife, and he's just not having any of it. So then his personal assistant, Iris, steps in and just becomes his wife. And it's Marriage of Convenience. I love this book. It was so good. It was actually my first Marriage of Convenience book, and I was obsessed with it. It was so good. And then we have a final offer, which follows Callahan, who has to maybe fall in love again. That's basically he has to make a decision what he's going to do with the summer house that they have in Lake Castillo, and when he goes back to prepare to sell the house, he finds out that his ex-girlfriend Alana is living there with a kid who he's then thinking is his. Ends up being Alana's sister's kid, who's been left to be mum to. But this book is amazing. I love this book so much. It does have some hard topics in this one, but I really, really enjoy it. And yes, I cannot recommend this series enough. This is so good. We're then gonna, if I can get them, because at the other end, the Akatar series. Again, if you think you're not a fantasy girl, pick this up. I do have another series that I actually should talk about, but it's in the other room, and I also, if I remember, I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it after this one, but I'll try and put a picture up. Yeah, anyway, the Akatar series by Sarah J. Maas. These books have changed my life. Like, I am obsessed with these books. Can I just say? If you guys think you're not a fantasy girl, like I said before, pick these up and you might change your mind. I think these books are really good to go into if you're not really a fantasy girl, or you don't think you are, and then you want to try and get into fantasy. These books will really help. I really enjoyed these books. You got the first one, which is A Court of Thorns and Roses. Then you got the second one, which is A Court of Mist and Fury, and then you got the third one, which is A Court of Wings and Ruin. And I absolutely love these books so much. They follow a girl called Feyre, who is a human girl who meets someone of Fae and has to make a decision whether to kill it or not, and she decides to. And it kind of progresses the story from there. I won't give too much away, because even though that's quite simple, I don't want to spoil the books for you, so... But when you get into the books, you will understand my hate for one character and one character only. But you need to read the books first. Then we can have a discussion. Next, I should say there's some dark romance in there. I have Hooked and Scarred by Emily McIntyre. I have also read Wretched, and I would love to put it in here, but I didn't like it. I haven't read Twisted or Crossed yet. They're both on my TBR cart. I just haven't read them yet. So... who knows? What time is it? Who knows if I'll enjoy it. But fingers crossed I will enjoy those two. But anyway, Hooked is... these are dark fairy tales. Kind of retellings where you follow the person who is the bad guy, the enemy. The person you wouldn't be rooting for. So in Hooked you're following Captain Hook and Wendy. It's so good though. I cannot recommend enough. I'm going to try and keep this short and brief because I'm running out of time and I need to cook my dinner. But Hooked by Emily McIntyre is so good, and I cannot tell you enough. I was, excuse the pun, but hooked on it. Loved it. And then you got Scarred, which is the Lion King retelling, and you're following Tristan and Sarah. Sarah is meant to be Nala, and Tristan is Scar, and it's so good, like so good. So yes, pick these up. These books are really good. I'm hoping Twisted and Crossed are good. Heard Crossed is amazing, so fingers crossed that it can make up for it, because I didn't like Wretched, which is why I haven't put it in here, because Wretched is not my favourite. We're getting to the end, guys. We are getting to the end. We have now got Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is just an easy read, and I really think if you're one person who just loves romance, loves movies, loves cheesy rom-coms, you will love this. If you love the Duff, you will love this. This is so good, and I was obsessed. It was just such an easy read, and I loved it so much. And then we have 2 Taylor Jenkins Reid books. I didn't actually talk about the other ones I wanted to talk about. Basically, if you want to watch, I'm going to say quickly, is what I was going to say after the Agatha series, which I forgot, is you need the Kingdom of the Wicked series by Kerry Maniscalco. You've got Kingdom of the Wicked, Kingdom of the Cursed, and Kingdom of the Feared. If I remember, there'll be pictures of them come up. If not, well, I'm sorry. But they are very good books. They are easy fantasy books to get into. You're following a girl called Amelia who is trying to find out the murder of her, like, who killed her sister, her twin sister Victoria. And she meets a king. She summons a king of hell. And she summons Prince Wrath. And throughout the trilogy, you unfold so many different stories. And honestly, it's amazing. So go read them. Now we go to my final 2 books, which are Taylor Jenkins Reid books. Now, I absolutely love Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing, but these are 2 of my favourites. So we're going to go with Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I am currently, I say currently, I have been currently rereading and annotating this since last August. I feel like I just need to sit down and go, I'm going to read this book and reread it. So one day, hopefully, maybe this year or early next year, I'm going to... Hello. Hopefully soon I'll just sit down and reread it and annotate it. But it is 700 Evelyn Hugo. I absolutely love this book. It is so good, and it's just the writing is fantastic. And if you haven't read it, I don't know where you've been. This was one of the first book talk books I ever read, and it was phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. I can still remember the day I read it and the day I finished it, and just everything, because it was just so good. So if you haven't read it, get to reading it. So good. And then another one that you need to read and you need to watch the TV series for is Daisy Jones and the Six. I have read this book twice. I read it last summer, and when I say last summer I was obsessed with it, I was. And then I read it again in March just before the TV series came out, and I wanted to annotate it, so I did. And I honestly have to say, this book is everything to me. It means probably as much as Archie's Voice does to me. I bought a specific second copy just so I can annotate it. I actually have given the other one away to a friend, but that's fine because I have this copy that I've annotated in my pride possession and it will not be going anywhere. I will keep this as long as I possibly can. So good, and I could not recommend it anymore. But with that being said, that is all the books that I think you need to read. But I don't know what I'm calling this, but books you should read, books to get you out of a slump, something like that. And yes, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, please comment down below, please subscribe. I will see you again soon with another video.